back everyone for some more Apollo Justice Ace Attorney here on Nintendo Switch. And we are ready to conclude Day 2 of the trial here in the case against Machi Dabai. And the hope is at the end of this episode, Machi Dabai will be cleared of all charges. At least that's what the hope is. But we're gonna be listening to more of Darian Crescent's testimony out on the witness stand. But before we do that, hope you guys have an awesome day today. Hope you guys doing well. So without further ado, perhaps it's time for another testimony. I know I said this at the end of the last episode, but I'll say it again this time. About this smuggling of cocoons business. Witness testimony. Cocoon smuggling. International Affairs got a memo about these cocoons. Interpol was all hot and bothered about them. Can't sell them on the black market. Too dangerous. Yeah, cocoon smuggling ain't exactly lucrative anymore. Man, I'm in international affairs. I know the deal. Indeed. Interpol wanted these cocoons bad enough to send Mr. Latouche undercover. You kids think of the craziest things. But no way am I gonna risk life and limb just to get my hands on some dirty cocoon money. Not the most noble of statements, but duly noted. According to reports, these cocoons top Interpol's list. Selling them to an underground organization would be risky. Very well, you may begin the cross-examination. Let's go ahead and save before I do every cross-examination. This is the only motive I've got. He was up to something, and I'm going to find out what. Cross-examination. Cocoon smuggling. International Affairs got a memo about the cocoons. They're all hot and bothered about it. Can't sell them on the black market. It's too dangerous. Cocoon smuggling ain't exactly... Well, you could either present this on this statement or the previous one, but I think we have something here that's going to contradict old Darian here. And that's right here, this newspaper article. Objection! Why not choose a less dangerous buyer then? I would. How clueless are you? Everyone in the market's dangerous. The second they found out I was a cop, I could kiss my keister goodbye. Why sell to a black market buyer? How about someone like this? That article, that's about the Chief Justice's... A deadly poison can be extracted from the cocoon, but so can a cure. And not a cure for just any disease, a cure for incuratus. Incuratus? I've heard of that somewhere. You went to visit a victim of disease this morning. Why, that's a disease the Chief Justice's son has. You aren't saying. Our witness is a detective. He would have contact with the Chief Justice. You are saying. The Chief Justice would never deal in contraband. Not even to save his own son's life? But even if the deal went through, why, it'd be an international scandal. That's Detective Crescent's insurance. If word ever got out, the word with his neck on the line would be the Chief Justice. Detective Crescent, is this true? First, I'm a murderer, now I'm a smuggler? How many crimes are you trying to pin on me anyway? This tasteful as it is to think about, if the Chief Justice were the buyer, why, a seller couldn't hope for a better deal. A very cowardly seller. Don't let sleeves over there trick you. So I made a deal with the Chief Justice? Where's your proof? Well... Oh yeah, and you're forgetting one other important thing. Do tell. Interpol isn't the only ones out there watching this. Virginian Customs barely sleeps. They're so worried about cocoons getting out. So we were informed. Let's continue with the cross-examination. Virginian Customs is very thorough. Everything and everyone gets checked. Cocoon possession will get you arrested on the spot and then sentenced to death. Hey man, if there's a way to get cocoons out of there, I'd sure like to know. Oh, I think there is a way. Let's go ahead and save. There is very, very much a way. By means of this. Objection! Actually, there is one way. What? One way to get something out of the country, no checks. What is it? You become a prosecutor. A prosecutor? I don't believe it. Believe it, Prosecutor Gavin. What was it that you told me yesterday at the office? It was a beautiful instrument. It was played lovingly for many years, a guitar befitting a woman like Lamoureux. How did it end up here? I mentioned how much I enjoyed playing it that night, and she made a present of it. So this guitar is from Virginia? That it is. We couldn't carry it on the plane. Changes in air pressure and humidity ruined the wood. So we vacuum packed it in Lamoureux's studio. I used a special shipping service available to me for transporting evidence. They brought it right up to my office for me. Pristine and untouched. Did I get that right, Prosecutor Gavin? Untouched? Quite. The guitar was wrapped in several sheets and vacuum packed in Virginia. The pack was untouched until the day of the concert. Are you saying that guitar was... with cocoons this small? It would have been very easy to use your guitar as a mule to smuggle a cocoon out of Virginia. What? Let's listen to his music real quick while I take a drink. Which reminds me, Prosecutor Gavin, that guitar had some work done on it recently, right? Work? Good memory there, forehead. Well, you know how guitars have a round hole in the front? It is called the sound hole. Well, they found something attached to the wood just inside the hole. A broken device of some sort. A broken device? Yes, this in fact. An igniter! Exactly. Consider this, if you will. What if that igniter wasn't the only thing that was attached inside your guitar? You mean... He means this, of course. There was a way to get a cocoon out of the country. They could use picky Prosecutor Gavin's privileged guitar as a mule. And who better to do that than someone with access? Like a member of the band. Yoke! Order! 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 So the igniter was placed in there for a clear reason, it seems. It was a safety precaution. A precaution? Her forehead. At last, it all comes together. Every strange thing that happened that day. Care to review? Maestro, the gentle sounds of Lamoureux's ballad, if you please. First, my keys were stolen, a harmless misdemeanor, which forced me to break the lock of my guitar case. The key was stolen to retrieve the cocoon from the guitar. I see. But things didn't go so well. The smuggler wasn't counting on the guitar being wrapped. Only a member of the band could get near that case. Unwrapping the guitar would raise too many suspicions. Then the concert began. Right about this time. A very large problem presented itself to the smuggler. What's that? Mr. Latouche. Mr. Latouche, an undercover agent, was onto something. He would have known about the guitar. He'd only have to check the shipping records. So, Mr. Latouche tried to examine the guitar himself. If the cocoon were confiscated then, the gig would be up. The only thing left for the smuggler to do was to get rid of the whole lot. It's over. Press the switch. Now. The guitar burst into flames, and the cocoon was lost. And then Mr. Latouche died, with Lamoureux there to witness it. There's your case. Brilliant, man. Detective Crescent? I gotta know, you make all that up on the fly? For a made-up story, it makes a great deal of sense, Therian. The Republic of Virginia? Sorry, man, but I haven't even been there. True, you haven't. Let's see you make up a story for that kid. How did I hide the coon in the first place, huh? It's not so hard to imagine. You had help, or a Virginian accomplice. That's all. That you had an accomplice was clear from the start. The voice Lamourer heard proves it. It's over. Press the switch. Now. You made this transmission from backstage, while your co-conspirator was on stage. But who was it? Let's go ahead and save. Oh. This is it, the coup de grace. And for once I know what I'm doing. There's only one person who could have helped him. Let's hear what Mr. Justice has to say, then. But be warned, with a great accusation comes great responsibility. Make up your answer on the fly as it were, and you'll be harshly penalized. Are you ready, Mr. Justice? Who was the smuggler's accomplice? Well, it's none other than the defendant, Machi Dabai. There's only one person who meets all the requirements of the accomplice, and that person is the defendant, Machi Dabai. But Mr. Justice, he's your client. A defense attorney accusing his client? That's a new one. I assure you, no one is more unhappy about this than I. But I am here to defend him in the murder of Mr. Latouche, and I stand by my statement earlier that he is innocent of that particular crime. Indeed, the defendant is Virginian. He does meet the basic requirements to be the accomplice. But what if it was, in fact, Lamourer? It couldn't have been. Well, you seem sure of yourself. The reason is electronic signals, Your Honor. Electronic signals? Recall that this remote only works to a range of 30 feet. Beyond that, it's useless. Yes, that's true. Now, think back to the testimony. When the shooter made his transmission, Lamourer was in the air vent, right above the dressing room where the shooter stood. Let's look at the stage diagram. This is the area that the remote could reach from the air vent. Well, looking at this, it seems that Lamourer still could have done the deed. No. When the shooter made that transmission, the stage was slightly different than shown here. It was in the middle of the guitar serenade. Part of the stage was raised. Prosecutor Gavin and the Lamourer stand-in were in the air. They were on a tower which happens to be 15 feet tall. In other words, the remote couldn't have worked from Lamourer's position in the air vent. Ah. Well, Detective Crescent, what do you say to that? Your Honor, yours, Detective? Could we see the video where Gavin's guitar burns? Just one more time? Well, I don't see why not. But what? Don't tell me there's a way out of this. Too bad, so sad, punk. Punk? First you were sleeves, then kid, now punk. You're losing rank fast. What exactly were we supposed to see in this video? The problem isn't it's what we see, correct, Arian? Right, it's what you hear. We are musicians after all. Care to explain for us non-musicians? Sure thing, punk. Let me get your yarn straight first. You're saying I ordered the wee pianist to set off that igniter. That right? Yes. Well, in order to do that, he'd have to press a switch. Am I right? Okay. Well, take another listen. Pay attention to the piano. Piano? What seems to be the problem there? The piano sounded just fine. And that's the problem. Man, you still don't get it? Ah. Yeah. How is he supposed to hit that switch if he's playing? You've got Miss Diva, the guitar, the bass, the piano, and the drums. The only one with her hands free was the Diva. Lamourer. But according to you, she couldn't have been the accomplice, could she? Ugh. Your accomplice would have had a hard time helping out. if they couldn't even press a switch. But wait! Wait. I think I figured it out. The piano plays non-stop. He couldn't have pressed that switch. Well, Mr. Justice? I think I'm gonna save, just in case I'm wrong about this. The piano does seem to be playing when the guitar catches fire. But, well, it's okay, we all make mistakes sometimes. Apollo, were you wrong? I can't be wrong. Everything makes perfect sense. How could it all just... Strange. What's strange? No, it's just... Something's odd about that performance there. Odd? Mr. Justice, if Monty Dubai didn't press that switch, then he could not be the accomplice you claim he is. But everything points to it. Every fact says he's the accomplice. You got the facts wrong, man. Here are some facts for you. Gavin's guitar is on fire, but the pianist didn't press that switch. In other words, your story is full of holes. Mr. Justice, let's hear your final opinion on this matter now. Was the defendant Monty Dubai the accomplice? Your answer will reflect on everything you've said here. Give it some thought. Apollo, if Monty's not the accomplice, then the whole case is ruined. I know that. It has to be him. He was the only one who could have helped the smuggler. He had to have pressed that switch. Well, you better find a way to prove it. What do I do? Huck, there has to be something that doesn't fit. Something odd. Wait a second. Well, what? You thought of something? What was Gavin saying just now? Strange. Well, what's strange? No, it's just something odd about that performance there. It's not much to go on, but it's all I got. What exactly did he hear that was odd? Have you come up with something, Mr. Justice? May I remind you that everything rests on this? Can you prove Monty Dubai pressed that switch? Let's hear your final answer. Can you prove that Monty Dubai pressed that switch? Yes, I can. I don't know if you call this proof, per se, but I can prove it was possible. Then, as prosecutor, it falls to me to ask you to show us this evidence supporting this. Forehead, you sure about this? Accept it. There's no evidence, man. That's the evidence, Mr. Justice. And what do you base your claim the defendant pressed that switch? Well, we're gonna present the mixing board again. The basis for my claim is music, Your Honor. Music? What about music? Let's listen to the piano part around the time when the switch was to be pressed. Right before the guitar burst into flames. I hear a piano being played. But, doesn't it sound kinda simple? Simple? Oh, I think I know what he's suggesting. You think Monty could have played that part with one hand? One hand? He only needed one hand to press that switch. He could play the piano with the other. What, so you're some kind of piano savant? Actually, no. Then what do you know? You can't play a part like that with one hand. Maybe. I don't know what I'm talking about here. Wait, I know. Hey, Trucy. Yeah? You got something? Mr. Wright, your father, he is a pianist. Could he? Oh, Daddy? He couldn't play a part like that even if he had 3 hands. So sorry. So sad for you. Oh, I'm so close. I got this. No, not really. Huh? That was just the easy way to prove it. There's always the hard way. Man, how are you gonna prove whether he played it with one hand or 2? You can't. I admit it will be rather difficult to prove, but it's highly likely he was playing with one hand. How hard are you doing that? The clue is what Prosecutor Gavin described as sounding odd. What sounded odd? I'll bet we can tell by listening to a certain part of the song. No way. Well, it seems we've come to the moment of truth at last. Let's hear what Mr. Justice has to say to himself. Show us the part that proves the defendant was playing with one hand, right before the guitar burst in flames. Machi was definitely playing one-handed just before the guitar caught fire, and one section of the song proves it. Prosecutor Gavin, I'm sure you've realized by now just what it was that sounded odd to you. As I'm sure you've realized it yourself, Forehead. Realized what? I'll demonstrate. Let's listen to the part in question again, shall we? Pay particular attention to the but a fleeting melody phrase. Man, how many times do we have to listen to the same thing? You're right, enough of that. Let's listen to another section, shall we? Another section? The guitar bursts into flame at the end of the second verse. Let's listen to the same spot, in the first verse. Pay attention to Oh That Night in Your Embrace. Oh, play verse 2 again. There, did you hear that? They feel the same, true, but they're clearly very different. What? Well put, Your Honor. The phrase in verse 2 is quite simple, but the same phrase in verse 1 has high and low notes. You'd have to use two hands to play that for sure. Oh! What's that prove? I would think you'd know that by now. This is why I hate dealing with amateurs, man. So the two verses have different arrangements. Happens all the time. Not this time, Darian. There's no point in changing an arrangement if you can't hear it clearly. And that wasn't the point. I had him play specifically so the piano would stay in the background. Oh. That was what I noticed. Why should the same phrase sound slightly different, I asked myself. Now ask yourselves why Machi changed how he played. And there's only one answer. He needed a free hand in order to press the switch. Order! I believe this ties all the facts together. Well, Prosecutor Gavin? Yes, quite. Though, personally, this comes as a terrible disappointment. What, no comeback? I can't believe it. I finally did it. I shut him up. Very well, barring an objection from the prosecution, I will now state the court's opinion on this matter. Good show, Sleeves. No, great show. It's not over? I don't like it when he looks so happy. You tell him, Gavin. Tell him what's so disappointing. Personally, I'm terribly disappointed. In you, Forehead. Huh? But me? Yes, don't get me wrong. Your case is solid. The facts all check out, but even now, you have yet to show us a single piece of decisive evidence. Yeah, but the facts. Anyone can see it was him. Unfortunately, anyone does not include the law. I'm afraid your case doesn't cut it. But... 1,000 facts might point towards the same conclusion, but without decisive evidence, it's not proof. That's the rule under our current legal system. I don't believe it. It does not seem as though the defense has any more evidence to present. Oh, I think if we did already, we would have seen it a long ways back. It is unfortunate, but at present, this court is unable to acknowledge the accusation. Huh? The truth is staring us all right in the face. Why can't they see it? What's the point of a legal system that protects criminals? Apollo, remember what Daddy said. It won't be easy proving he did it, especially not under the current court system. So what do I do? Like I said, good luck. And be aware that it will be impossible to prove his guilt by conventional methods. Every man has an igniter inside him. Find Darien Crescent's igniter and set it off. I wonder what he meant by every man's igniter. I think it just meant a weak spot, though. The kind of thing that a single spark could turn into a wildfire of emotion. I won't be able to press him further by conventional means. I've got to find a weak spot in the sky. Something fatal. So, can I get back to work now, or what? It may look like I got a lot of time on my hands, but I got no more time to play pretend with this deadweight attorney. Well, Mr. Justice? We've come this far without decisive evidence. This witness won't be coming back to the stand once we let him go. Every man has an igniter. Huh? Didn't you say, the better the guitar, the brighter it burns, Prosecutor Gavin? Ah, yes. Good guitars are kept dry, is why. That provides the best sound. Even a small spark could cause irreparable damage. Your plan has the igniter in it too, Detective. It was there from the very beginning. What? Fighting time, Justice. If you blow this one, he'll be out of your hands for good. Go for it, Apollo. What, and this igniter's supposed to come burn me up? That's almost poetic there, Mr. Attorney. All the better. I'm rather fond of poetry, and I intend to hear this one through to the very end. Forehead. You are accusing this man, Darien Crescent, of 2 crimes. The murder of Mr. Latouche and the smuggling of a Virginian cocoon. This is your last chance to prove your case. This trial has already run on for far too long. Mr. Justice, this will be my last warning. The moment this igniter of yours turns out to be a dud, is the moment this cross-examination ends. Understood? Yes, Your Honor. Then let's have it. Show us the basis for these accusations against Darien Crescent. Okay, this is really my last chance. The key that will take apart Darien Crescent's plan is... Well, it's easy. We're going to be calling a witness. Your igniter isn't a piece of evidence. Huh? So what is? It is true that I couldn't show decisive evidence, but perhaps what I needed to prove my case was something else. You mean, a witness. I don't know why I said it like that. Proving his guilt is a tall order, but I've got just the person to do it. Very well, Mr. Justice. Who is this person that can prove Darien Crescent's guilt? Well, there happens to be none other than his accomplice, Machi Dabai. The one person who can prove Darien Crescent's guilt is the defendant, Machi Dabai. Your client? Again? Machi Dabai was an accomplice to the cocoon smuggling plot. Without him, Darien Crescent could not have gotten the cocoon. Furthermore, he can easily prove that the one who plotted to smuggle that cocoon is the real criminal in this case. How so? It would require just one of the very cocoons Mr. Latouche was looking for. With the cooperation of the Republic of Virginia, we could burn a cocoon. The burnt cocoon would leave a particular residue. A residue we would, no doubt, also find inside the burnt-out guitar. Ah, very scientific of you. Thus, if Machi Dabai acknowledges his agreement with Darien Crescent concerning the attempted smuggling of a Bulgarian cocoon, the case is solved. Darien's laughing again. Your unrelenting passion is unremarkable. You really want to get me, don't you? Too bad you'll never be able to. Why not? The little key tickler won't acknowledge anything, especially not anything to do with cocoon smuggling. What's this all about? Taking a cocoon out of the country means death. By a Borginian law. Ah. Yeah, see? If our penis really was a smuggler, then testifying about would be suicide. Hey there, Don. Believe me, he's not talking. But you're wrong, Detective Crescent. What? It's the other way around. If Machi doesn't admit to smuggling here, he's in deep trouble. Huh? How? Look, if Machi admits to smuggling here, then he'll be tried in our courts, by our laws. You don't get the death penalty for smuggling in our country. Ah, the victim in this case was an undercover Interpol agent. I'm sure that news has already reached Virginia. And they'll likely broadcast our dealings in court today, including the part about the Virginian cocoon. Yeah, but... But if Machi doesn't admit to smuggling now, he'll eventually be picked up by the Virginian police, and it's not like he's in any danger in our court. We're not going to find him guilty of murder here, not now. Yeah, but you can't do this. You can't. You can't accuse me. Maybe the law doesn't allow it, but who's going to think you're really innocent after hearing this child? The same goes for Machi Dabai. The cocoon smuggling, your entire plan? Machi Dabai knows everything. There's only one way out of it for him, and that's to acknowledge his own crime. The crime of cocoon smuggling. But don't worry there. I'll get you out of the country. I'll set you up someplace. A hidden mansion? Real nice. You want a house made of cookies? Or no, a house made out of pianos? Come on. Please! Don't take... Wow. Don't talk. Wow. That was something. Darian, I consider that my last session with you. We rocked. I'm guessing we can treat that outburst as a confession? Uh-oh, he's laughing again. There's a kind of sick desperation in it now, though. Well, have you been listening to today's trial? Yes. And you'll talk? You'll tell this court everything? I didn't want it to turn out this way, but I'm not the kind of lawyer that can overlook a crime. Today's trial was all for your benefit, you know? I see no reason why you should hesitate now. I knew, from beginning, I knew. Machi. Situation, I cannot explain. But money, I needed. Very much money. Today's trial raises a delicate issue with our legal system. The only thing definite in a court of law is evidence. This is the golden rule. However, it has become apparent that not all things can be tried by the standard. Should another case of this sort surface, we may have to consider an alternate system by which to administer justice. Anyway, Mr. Machi Dabai? Yes? I promise you will receive a fair trial by the laws of our country. And with regard to the current charges for the murder of Mr. Latouche, this court is prepared to announce a verdict. I thank you. I only lie, but you see truth. You find truth. That's our job. Very well. This court finds the defendant, Machi Dabai, not guilty. There we go. Court is adjourned. July 10th, 4:42 p.m. District Court Defendant Lobby Number 2. I wonder what will happen to Machi. Well, he did smuggle cocoon out of Virginia. I guess there will be another trial here. All's well that ends well. Daddy! I owe you both my thanks. Namarar? My, is something wrong? I'm sorry, Machi was your partner on stage. Your friend. Yes, I thought of him as my own son. Even now I do. Yet, something got a hold of him. Something evil. I see that. And he must pay for what he has done. Is that not how it should be? I'm still sorry. Do not be sorry. You have given me courage. Courage? I am considering an eye operation. It was my suggestion, actually. You mean you'll be able to see again? It's funny, I have always been afraid of the light. Light seems so harsh, so unforgiving. According to the doctor, Namura lost his sight due to some kind of accident. An accident? As you know, I suffer from amnesia. I feared that if I could see, perhaps it would open my eyes to the truth I have been running from. I was scared. You know what changed her mind? Hearing your defense in there today. She could feel your gaze, unwavering, always looking straight at the truth. If the light returns to my eyes, I think I will take up painting. Painting? That's right! She's the landscape painter in sound, after all. I will paint the two of you, I promise. Woohoo! I can't wait, Namura. I owe you my thanks too, Apollo. Thanks, Mr. A. But for what? You reminded me I needed to hurry things along. Or I need to hurry things along on my secret mission, that is. Right, your secret mission. Apollo, Drucy, I hope that we will meet again someday soon. You bet, me too. And so, like a ballad, the trial flowed on and on until it came to the end. Thanks to the trial, the guitar serenade was a huge hit. Prosecutor Gavin's even more dazzling to look at now, but there's something I want to say to that guy. Next time you write a ballad, have them catch killer at the end. And so concludes Case 3 of Apollo Justice. And we will be getting the fourth and final case. As you can see, we've got an award right there. But we will be beginning the next case, which is the fourth case, and also the final case of this first game in the Apollo Justice trilogy. And I will not be doing that until September, so we will have to wait a couple months for that, but we are going to be going, and I believe the name of that one is Turnabout Succession, so we'll be doing that in September. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this case, and I've got to be honest right now, I really don't see what the problem with this case is and why so many people don't like it. I thoroughly enjoy this case a lot. It might not be the strongest case out there, but it's definitely not a bad case by any means. It had some pretty cool stuff in it, but yeah, hopefully you guys will be with me whenever I take on Turnabout Succession in September, which will be the final case here in Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. But thank you guys so much for watching this. Hope you guys are enjoying the series so far. I will see you guys again next time.